mouse and owl, but there was only one. She was on her own and didn't have much fun. So she flew and she flew towards the setting sun. Found another owl, now there were two, not one. There were two, not one. There were two owls sitting in the setting sun. There were two little owls, not one but two, and they weren't really finding much to do. So they flew and they flew by the light of the moon. Found another owl, now there were three, not two. There were three, not two. There were three owls sitting in the light of the moon. There were three little owls, not two but three, but they weren't very happy sitting in a tree. So they flew and they flew to the deep blue sea. Found another owl, now there were four, not three. There were four, not three. There were four little owls by the deep blue sea. There were four little owls, not three but four, but they weren't having fun, they were feeling bored. So they flew and they flew along the seashore. Found another owl, now there were five, not four. There were five, not four. There were five little owls along the seashore. There were five little owls, not four but five, but they weren't having fun down by the seaside. So they flew and they flew to a yellow beehive. Found another owl, now there were six, not five. There were six, not five. There were six little owls by a yellow beehive. There were six little owls, not five but six, but they weren't having fun, they were in a fix. So they flew and they flew to a pile of sticks. Found another owl, now there were seven, not six. There were seven, not six. There were seven little owls on a pile of sticks. There were seven little owls, not six but seven, but they weren't having fun, though it was no heaven. So they flew and they flew to a tree of lemons. Found another owl, now there were eight, not seven. There were eight, not seven. There were eight little owls in a tree of lemons. There were eight little owls, not seven but eight, but they weren't having fun, no, things weren't great. So they flew and they flew to a garden gate. Found another little owl, now there were nine, not eight. There were nine, not eight. There were nine little owls on a garden gate. There were nine little owls, not eight but nine, but they weren't having fun, they weren't feeling fine. So they flew and they flew to a washing line. Found another owl, now there were ten, not nine. There were ten, not nine. There were ten little owls on a washing line. There were ten little owls, not nine but ten. They were having fun with their new best friends, and they stayed in their nest for days on end. 10 owls all together, so this is the end. There were 10 owl friends, all 10 were together, so this